My name is Nora Ellis. I am 38 years old, and I found out my family had turned my lake house into their vacation rental while I was sitting in a hospital parking lot after a 12-hour night shift. The message was in the family group chat. My mother wrote, Nora, make sure the refrigerator is full before we arrive. Your father promised everyone the Ellis family lake weekend, so please be gracious for once. For once? I still had compression marks from my mask on my face. My scrub smelled like disinfectant. I had spent the night keeping strangers alive, calming panicked relatives, and making decisions no one should have to make before sunrise. And my own family had decided that the one quiet place I owned, the one place where nobody needed me, was now available for 20 people because my father had said so. I typed one word. No. They laughed. They sent emojis. My brother said I was dramatic. My sister said it was just a house. My father left a voicemail ordering me to unlock the gate, stock the fridge, put out towels, and stop embarrassing him. That was when I understood something I should have understood years earlier. Helping people does not give them ownership of your life. A boundary without enforcement is just a suggestion people can mock. So I stopped suggesting. I changed the smart lock code. I canceled every old guest pass. I notified the gated community security office in writing, and by Saturday morning, 20 relatives were sitting in 5 cars at the entrance with coolers, suitcases, folding chairs, and my father's pride trapped behind a locked gate. When he called me screaming that I had humiliated him in front of the family, I looked out over the water from my own porch and said, "You humiliated yourself when you promised people access to something you never owned." I want to pause here because this is the part people outside a family like mine often misunderstand. They ask why I did not simply say no sooner, as if saying no is only a matter of vocabulary. But in some families, no is not treated like an answer. It is treated like a defect. It is diagnosed, argued with, punished, renamed as selfishness, and dragged into the center of the room until the person who said it feels responsible for everyone else's discomfort. That is why the moment mattered so much. I was not only refusing a weekend, I was refusing a role. I was refusing the invisible contract that said my work belonged to everyone, my rest belonged to no one, and my property became family property the moment someone else wanted it badly enough. For years, I had confused peace with surrender. I had mistaken the absence of open conflict for love. But there is a kind of silence that does not mean peace at all. It means one person is absorbing all the impact so everyone else can pretend the room is calm. To understand why they thought they could do it, you have to understand the family I came from. My father, Richard Ellis, had spent 30 years managing warehouse logistics. He knew how to move freight, assign crews, track inventory, and make men twice my size obey a schedule. At home, he used the same voice on us. He did not ask. He assigned. He did not apologize. He explained until everyone else was too tired to resist. My mother, Marlene, was softer, which made her manipulation easier to miss. Dad gave orders. Mom wrapped them in guilt. She said things like, "Your father is just proud," or "Your brother has had a hard year," or "We invested so much in you." That word, invested, always landed in me like a stone, as if every meal, ride to school, birthday gift, and childhood roof had been a loan agreement I never signed. I was the oldest daughter. In my family, that meant being useful before being seen. I remembered appointments. I brought extra food. I apologized first. I gave money quietly. I learned to need less because needing less made me easier to love. By 24, I was a registered nurse. By 34, I was a night shift nursing manager in Charlotte. Night shift teaches you what real emergencies look like. It teaches you that access without accountability can kill people. No one walks into a medication room because they feel entitled. No one enters an operating room because they are family. Rules exist because boundaries protect lives. But at home, my family treated my boundaries like bad manners. My younger brother, Caleb, was always one business idea away from success and one overdue bill away from calling me. Detailing company, sneaker resale, food truck without a truck. Every failure became temporary when he needed cash, and a family betrayal when I asked for repayment. My sister Tessa was a lifestyle influencer. She made videos about peace, wellness, and soft living, usually in spaces she did not own. She loved my lake house because it looked expensive on camera. She loved it more than she respected me. My husband, Owen, saw the pattern long before I admitted it. He taught physical education and coached track. He was steady, patient, and infuriatingly clear. Once, after I transferred money to my parents for a broken HVAC system at midnight, he asked, "Is this help, or is this a subscription?" I got angry because the answer was obvious. I want to pause here because this is the part people outside a family like mine often misunderstand. They ask why I did not simply say no sooner, as if saying no is only a matter of vocabulary. But in some families, no is not treated like an answer. It is treated like a defect. It is diagnosed, argued with, punished, renamed as selfishness, and dragged into the center of the room until the person who said it feels responsible for everyone else's discomfort. That is why the moment mattered so much. I was not only refusing a weekend, I was refusing a role. I was refusing the invisible contract that said my work belonged to everyone, my rest belonged to no one, and my property became family property the moment someone else wanted it badly enough. For years, I had confused peace with surrender. I had mistaken the absence of open conflict for love. But there is a kind of silence that does not mean peace at all. It means one person is absorbing all the impact so everyone else can pretend the room is calm. The lake house was the first thing I ever bought that belonged only to me. It was not a mansion. It was a three-bedroom house in a gated community near Lake Norman, with a screened porch, cedar beams, a narrow dock, and a view of water that made my shoulders drop the moment I stepped inside. I bought it with overtime, holiday pay, extra shifts, and years of saying no to things other people enjoyed without guilt. After codes, deaths, family fights in hospital waiting rooms, and nights when I had to be the calmest person in the worst moment of someone else's life. I drove there to hear nothing. No alarms, no phones, no one calling my name. The house did not need me. That was why I loved it. My father saw it once and renamed it immediately. "The Ellis family lake house," he said at Thanksgiving. I corrected him. "My lake house." He smiled as if I had made a small social error. Same thing. It was not the same thing, but I let it pass. That was my first mistake. Not because every wrong sentence deserves a fight, but because entitlement grows roots when you water it with silence. The first violation looked like a favor. Caleb said his apartment had plumbing problems and asked to bring his kids for a weekend. I said no at first. Then my mother called and said, "Are you really going to make your niece and nephew stay in a hotel when your house is empty?" Empty. In my family, anything I was not actively using became available inventory. I said yes. Caleb promised to leave everything as he found it. By Monday, one kayak was cracked. Wet towels were mildewing on the floor. Popcorn was ground into the sofa. And sunscreen had been used to draw a smiley face on the screened porch. When I called him, he said, "Kids are kids." I said, "Adults are supposed to watch them." My mother called me unkind. My father said, "It's just a kayak." The second violation was Tessa. She asked to use the lake house for a quick content shoot. I said no because Owen and I were going that weekend. She went anyway. I found out because her video appeared online Saturday morning. She was standing in my kitchen, pouring lemon water into my glass, with the caption, "My sacred lakeside reset." My sacred, my kitchen, my glass, my address visible for 3 seconds in the background. When I told her to take it down, she said, "Relax, it's good exposure." Exposure for whom? Not for the woman who had to call security and change the guest list because strangers were commenting. Where is this place? That night, Owen changed the smart lock code and said, "No more shared access." I agreed. For 3 weeks. Then my father asked for the code, just in case of emergencies. My mother said it hurt him that I did not trust him. I gave it to them. That was my second mistake. I want to pause here because this is the part people outside a family like mine often misunderstand. They ask why I did not simply say no sooner, as if saying no is only a matter of vocabulary. But in some families, no is not treated like an answer. It is treated like a defect. It is diagnosed, argued with, punished, renamed as selfishness, and dragged into the center of the room until the person who said it feels responsible for everyone else's discomfort. That is why the moment mattered so much. I was not only refusing a weekend, I was refusing a role. I was refusing the invisible contract that said my work belonged to everyone, my rest belonged to no one, and my property became family property the moment someone else wanted it badly enough. For years, I had confused peace with surrender. I had mistaken the absence of open conflict for love. But there is a kind of silence that does not mean peace at all. It means one person is absorbing all the impact so everyone else can pretend the room is calm. After that, the language changed. My father stopped saying your lake house. He said our place, the lake place, the Ellis place. He invited a cousin to fish there without asking. He told my aunt there were plenty of beds. He promised my mother's book club they could use the porch for a retreat. Every time I objected, he acted confused. Why are you being so possessive? Possessive. About a house I owned, a mortgage I paid, insurance in my name, taxes in my name, a dock permit in my name, a gate account in my name. I tried to explain. That was my third mistake. I wrote long messages about rest, liability, privacy, damage, scheduling, and respect. My father read them for weakness. My mother read them for guilt. My siblings read them for inconvenience. No one read them for meaning. In unhealthy families, explanations are not bridges. They are maps to the places where you can still be pressured. Then came the message at 1:17 a.m. during my shift. Labor Day weekend is officially set, my mother wrote. Your father invited everyone for a proper Ellis family lake reunion at Nora and Owen's place. 20 total, maybe 22 if Aunt Patrice brings the boys. Nora, please make sure the fridge is full, beds are made, towels are out, and the dock is cleared. Let's all be pleasant and not make this complicated. Check-in Friday afternoon, barbecue Saturday, church by the water Sunday, family photos, Monday morning. Check-in, like my home was a rental listing. My father added, already told everyone, no backing out now. Caleb sent a grill emoji, Tessa wrote. Content will be adorable. I stood in the medication room and stared at the screen. There I was, surrounded by locked cabinets in a workplace that understood access better than my family ever had. You do not get to open a locked cabinet because you want what is inside. You need authorization. So I gave my answer. No. The chat paused. Then came the laughing emojis, the question marks, the jokes. Tessa wrote, no as in no problem? I wrote, No, as in no. The house is not available. No one has permission to go. My father called. I declined. My mother called. I declined. My father left a voicemail saying I would not embarrass him, that he had already told everyone, that I needed to unlock the gate and act like an adult. I saved it. Documentation is what people do when they finally understand that memory will be challenged. I want to pause here because this is the part people outside a family like mine often misunderstand. They ask why I did not simply say no sooner, as if saying no is only a matter of vocabulary. But in some families, no is not treated like an answer. It is treated like a defect. It is diagnosed, argued with, punished, renamed as selfishness, and dragged into the center of the room until the person who said it feels responsible for everyone else's discomfort. That is why the moment mattered so much. I was not only refusing a weekend, I was refusing a role. I was refusing the invisible contract that said my work belonged to everyone, my rest belonged to no one, and my property became family property the moment someone else wanted it badly enough. For years, I had confused peace with surrender. I had mistaken the absence of open conflict for love. But there is a kind of silence that does not mean peace at all. It means one person is absorbing all the impact so everyone else can pretend the room is calm. When my shift ended, I sat in my car and made an action list. Change smart lock code, delete guest profiles, cancel old gate passes, notify security and HOA in writing, confirm camera access, call Owen. My hands were steady. That surprised me. I expected rage to make me clumsy. But old rage is different. It becomes clear. The Smart Lock app showed 7 active guest codes. My parents, Caleb, Tessa, the cleaner, 2 emergency codes I had forgotten existed. I deleted every family code. Then I logged into the Lake Haven portal and removed every family vehicle pass. I emailed security. No family reunion, gathering, or multi-day guest event is authorized at my property for Labor Day weekend. No entry should be granted to anyone claiming verbal permission from Richard or Marlene Ellis. All guests must be approved by me in writing. I copied the HOA manager. I copied myself. Then I called the gate. A retired deputy named Paul answered. I explained. He said, "We'll handle it." That nearly made me cry. I stated a boundary, and he did not ask me to justify it. He did not tell me to be nicer. He did not remind me what my parents had done for me. He simply treated my no as information. Owen answered on the second ring. When I told him, he said, "Finally." I asked if he thought I was wrong. "No," he said. "It just feels wrong because they trained guilt into the place where your boundaries should have been." That sentence became a handrail for the next 3 days. Friday came. Owen and I drove to the lake house Thursday night because I wanted to stand inside my own no. The house was quiet. The water was dark. I checked every door and window. Nothing was missing. No strange cars. No ring light in my living room. No one had turned the porch into a stage. The first car arrived at the gate Friday at 2:43 p.m. The security app sent a notification. Then another. Then another. 5 vehicles in 15 minutes. SUVs. A minivan. My father's truck. A rented van. Coolers strapped to roof racks. Folding chairs. Inflatable lake toys. The entire fantasy made physical. Paul called, "They're here!" "Do they have written authorization from me?" "No." "Then do not let them in." "Understood." In the background, I heard my father's voice before I heard his words. Volume had always entered rooms before he did. My phone rang 8 seconds later. I want to pause here because this is the part people outside a family like mine often misunderstand. They ask why I did not simply say no sooner, as if saying no is only a matter of vocabulary. But in some families, No is not treated like an answer. It is treated like a defect. It is diagnosed, argued with, punished, renamed as selfishness, and dragged into the center of the room until the person who said it feels responsible for everyone else's discomfort. That is why the moment it mattered so much. I was not only refusing a weekend, I was refusing a role. I was refusing the invisible contract that said my work belonged to everyone, my rest belonged to no one, and my property became family property the moment someone else wanted it badly enough. For years, I had confused peace with surrender. I had mistaken the absence of open conflict for love. But there is a kind of silence that does not mean peace at all. It means one person is absorbing all the impact so everyone else can pretend the room is calm. I answered on speaker. Owen sat beside me. "Nora," my father snapped, "tell this man to open the gate." "No. This is not funny." "I agree. We have people here, children, food. Your mother is humiliated." "You should not have brought them." "You said no in a mood. We all know you." There it was. My boundary was a mood. His entitlement was leadership. I said no in writing. I said several times. "You do not get to lock your family out. I do get to lock my house. It is not just your house." I looked around the porch. The chairs Owen and I built. The wind chimes I bought after a patient's daughter told me to buy something peaceful. The floorboards I stained myself. The mortgage statement sitting in my email. "Yes," I said, "it is." My father lowered his voice. That was when he was most dangerous, when he stopped shouting and pretended to be reasonable. "Listen carefully. I told everyone we had a place. I told them my daughter was hosting. You are making me look like I lied." I waited one beat, then another. Silence can be a scalpel if you stop using it as a hiding place. Finally, I said, "You did lie." In the background, someone asked, "Richard, does Nora know we're here?" Another voice said, "Wait, did she approve this?" My father covered the phone too late. I heard my Aunt Marcy say, "Richard, you told us she invited everyone." My mother's voice floated in, strained and high. "She's just overwhelmed. She works nights." There was the translation. My no became exhaustion. My boundary became instability. My ownership became temporary emotional weather. I spoke loud enough for the phone to catch it. "Aunt Marcy, if you can hear me, I did not invite anyone. I told them no on Monday. I told them security would not allow entry." Silence. Then chaos. "Not mine, theirs." My father came back. "You have caused enough damage." "No," I said. "I have stopped absorbing it." Then I hung up. My hands were shaking. Owen took the phone and placed it face down on the table. Then he held me. Not because I regretted it, because bodies sometimes need comfort after doing the right thing. The gate standoff lasted 46 minutes.